Welcome back for day 4 of the Teacher Transition Challenge. So far, we have talked about our interests, we talked about our strengths, created our inventory, built on that by looking into job titles that make sense for us, and then also talked about the importance of personal storytelling. Now, we're going to build even more so on the same aspect of thinking about when we get to a point where we're actually making contact with companies, with people within that space, hiring managers, whoever. We want to also have those stories and all those things in our back pocket. But you also want to be knowledgeable about the company, right? So two things I think are going to be really important here. The first thing is going to be research. Research the company. Know what they do, what their mission is, what their purpose is, what their goals are, who they're serving. Because we want to make sure that if we're going into a potential role, with a edtech company that focuses on servicing and supports for students with disabilities or students who have English as a second language, for example, we want to make sure that we are knowledgeable of that particular space and what that company actually offers. Now, building a little bit more on that, right? Thinking about the research, digging into that, what does that look like? Well, number one, again, outside of knowing the mission and kind of the surface level things, you should actually go in to their website, and if you can get like a free demo of whatever the product or the content is, try to do that. You don't have to pay for it. But get a free version, because whenever you go into a conversation with somebody and you can speak directly to how things function and even maybe give some ideas based on what you saw and what you experienced, that's already going to tell them that you are somewhat invested, and that's going to mean a lot, right? Mean a great deal. And of course, if it's something that you use on a regular basis, right, maybe it's something that you apply in your classroom, you can then speak directly to it, which might lead back into what we talked about for day 3, which is kind of that personal story of how this even works. Okay, so that's really the first thing. Then we're talking about alignment. So aligning directly to that research. Maybe you look through the information, maybe you figure out a company is based in a certain city, they serve a certain population, and you identify with that place and that population. You already kind of have an idea, an aspect of kind of where their framework is and what they're thinking in terms of where they're serving. And also you might have experienced directly related to that in your teaching practice. Use that information when you go into conversations. Whenever you're talking to a recruiter, hiring manager, and you can say, I worked in this school district, we used this product, or I worked in this particular school district where I grew up, and my family is from this area, so I understand the issues, the disparities, or even things that are up and coming within that space. Then you can speak to that. Building on that even more, if you're talking about more so content expertise, you can then make alignments and say, I have done this, and this in mathematics or within ELA or within K5 or K12, whatever it is. But you want to make sure that you do a little bit of a deep dive on any particular company that has taken interest in you, or that you take an interest in. Make sure that you already have some knowledge bases, because going into conversations, going into interviews, they are going to ask you, have you ever used this before? What do you know about this company? Where did you find our information? What do you know, right? They want to know how much you know, because at that point, it actually kind of creates a little bit less of a learning curve if you already have a knowledge base of who they are, what they do, and what the overall goal is